My son called me crying on his graduation day. His mother cut up his cap and gown. She left a note. "You're not my son anymore, failure." He wanted to skip the ceremony, but I looked at him and said, "Get dressed, I have a plan." When they called his name for valedictorian, the auditorium erupted. His mother's face went pale when she saw. He texted me at 6 a.m. Just a photo, no message. Pieces of navy fabric spread across his bedroom floor. Scissors still open on the nightstand like she wanted me to see exactly what she'd used. She didn't hide it, didn't even try. I called him immediately. He picked up on the first ring, which meant he'd been sitting there staring at his phone, waiting. His voice was completely flat, not angry, not even sad, just empty in that way that's worse than crying. The sound of someone who's already decided something doesn't matter anymore. I told him not to move. I was in the car before he could argue. The drive was 40 minutes. I used every one of them. Called the principal first. She picked up and I explained what happened as calmly as I could. There was a long pause on her end. Then she told me something that stopped me cold. His mother had already called the office that morning, before I even knew what happened. She'd told them my son wasn't attending. Nerves, she said. Anxiety. She wanted it noted so his absence wouldn't affect anything administratively. She had called ahead to make sure his empty seat had an explanation. The principal said she'd take care of the cap and gown. The drama teacher kept spares for situations like this. When I pulled up, my son was sitting on the front steps still in his pajamas. He looked younger than 17. He looked like he hadn't slept. I didn't say anything about the gown or the note. I just told him to wash his face, put on the dress shirt in his closet, and meet me at the car in 10 minutes. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. I told him to trust me. On the way to the school, he told me the part he'd been keeping back. 2 days before graduation, the school had called him. Valedictorian, 4.1 weighted GPA. He hadn't told his mother, hadn't told anyone. He was saving it. Wanted to see her face when they announced it. Wanted that to be the moment she finally understood what he'd been building quietly for years. She found out from another parent the night before. He didn't know how, but that was why she did it. Not rage, not a breakdown. It was calculated. She found out her son was about to be celebrated in front of everyone for something she'd had no part in, something she'd actually tried to talk him out of, and she made a decision. If she couldn't control the moment, she would cancel it. The drama teacher met us at the side entrance with a cap and gown that fit well enough. My son changed in the bathroom. I straightened his collar in the hallway while families filed past us. He kept his eyes down. I told him to pick a spot on that stage and walk to it like he already knew what was waiting for him. He nodded. He went in. I found a seat in the middle section. She was in the front row. I recognized her posture before I recognized her face. That particular straightness she had when she was performing composure. She'd been telling people all morning he wasn't coming. I heard her say it twice before the processional started. "Such a shame," she kept saying. He just couldn't handle the pressure. The graduates filed in alphabetically. She was on her phone when the G's started. She had no reason to look up. She'd already written the ending to this story. Then my son walked through those doors. He didn't rush, didn't scan the room for her, just moved to his assigned seat at the same steady pace as everyone around him, sat down and folded his hands in his lap. The gold valedictorian cords caught the overhead light. She saw them before she saw his face. I watched her go still, watched her lean toward the woman beside her and say something, watched the woman shake her head slowly, watched my son's mother sit back and stare straight ahead at the stage with an expression I didn't have a name for. They announced salutatorian first, then the principal stepped back to the microphone, and this year's valedictorian, with a weighted GPA of 4.1, my son stood before she finished the sentence. The auditorium came apart. His teammates were on their feet first, then the rows around them. Then it just kept going the way those things do when they're real. Not polite applause, but something that actually means something to the people clapping. He walked to that stage like he'd been there 100 times. She sat completely still in the front row. Every person around her was standing. She was the only one who didn't move. He got to the microphone, took one breath, looked out at the room. He never looked at her, not once. I was shaking so hard I had to press my hands flat against my legs. She was stoned, completely, perfectly stoned. And then my son started to speak.